Good morning and welcome to 10-Minute Training. Today we're talking about the kids you'll meet. What we're going to talk about in the next few minutes is just the different types of kids that are going to be coming out to your kids ministry, your Sunday school classes, or other events that you're doing at your church. Now perhaps this is a topic that's fairly a no-brainer for most of us. We know that kids are different, that there's all kinds of different kids that come to our programs and to our ministries. However, I wonder how often we actually stop to think about who are the kids that are going to be coming out and what are the best ways that we can interact with them, reach out to them, lead our programs with them, and teach our Sunday school classes with them. And so I want us to just spend a little bit of time thinking about, what are the different personalities of kids that are coming? Have you spent time considering things like the learning styles if you're teaching a Sunday school class? Or perhaps the interests or abilities of kids that are coming out to your events. When you're doing your programming, are you considering the kids that you're intending to reach out to, or the ones that you know will probably be part of the program that you're doing? These are all things that are actually quite important as we consider how we're ministering to the young people that God has called us to. So some things that I have learned as I have thought through just recognizing the different types of kids is just some little tips and things that help me. And this is something that might help you, particularly if you're leading a volunteer team as well, to help do volunteer training and helping your volunteers to better be able to lead the kids that they will be responsible for. So it could be things like starting a little file card or a paper or whatever kind of system works for you, just recording little things about each child in your ministry. So this could be things like interests or things like activities that they're involved in outside of church. It could be things like the way that they seem to learn best. So for example, in a Sunday school class, sometimes I've used drama as part of the class. And there's some kids who really love to act out things. And so you might want to make notes on kids that really love to act out or to be dramatic in different ways. There could be things that you want to make note of in terms of personalities. Some kids are shyer and quieter. They don't like the big, loud, kind of outgoing program. This is important to keep in mind because sometimes we, especially when we're leading a program, we lead in a way that we think we would like or that we're comfortable with based on our own learning styles or personalities or interests. And so this is important to keep in mind so that you can be inclusive of all children. This could also include things such as any particular needs that a child has in a classroom. So for example, you might have some kids who really need to know kind of what's happening, to know what's going on, know the parameters and the boundary of a program. And so for them, it's important to know what's going to be happening and coming next. For other kids, they love it when they're just totally surprised by things. There's kids who, if you're doing a Sunday school class, for example, that are going to struggle if the class is structured in a way where it's all sitting down and listening or talking around a table because they need to get up and move around. So I want to encourage you as you are ministering to children to really get to know the kids that come into your ministry. The other thing too is that there are all kinds of things going on in the lives of a kid outside of the program and ministry times. So to be aware of that and to be prepared as children are coming into your ministry settings of just being able to be aware of what may be going on. So if there is behavior, for example, that's out of character for a child that you know, perhaps there's something that's happened. And so again, getting to know the kids, getting to know what is kind of their usual and their normal kind of behavior is really important so that you will be aware when something is a little bit out of place. You might know how to best talk with that child or have discussion or find out a little bit more about what's going on. Just getting to know them at a deeper level as well. Kids are bringing such a different range of experiences and interests into the ministry. And it's so great to get to know them so that you can also incorporate that into your ministry settings. There are so many ways that we can be more inclusive of all children if we get to know them more. And you know, we've got some great resources out there some that we've collected and put together that I'd love to make available for you if you're thinking about ways to be more aware of the kids that you'll meet in your ministry. So you'll find in the comments throughout this video some links to resources. So one thing is multiple intelligences. Perhaps you've heard of this before. If you've not, this is a great little chart that will help you to just get a sense of the different intelligences that children have, that all of us have, actually. This is put together, this is an educational theory, and it just basically says that there are different strengths that each person has in terms of the way that they learn best or the way that they are kind of wired. So some are more hands-on, kind of want to move around, kinesthetic learners. Some learn more through music and that kind of thing. So there's all kinds of different intelligences that we have. One or the other is not better or stronger. It's just the differences that we have. So that's helpful, particularly in a classroom or a teaching setting, a Sunday school setting, or a program where you're trying to teach kids. That's a really helpful little tool. Another one that I'm going to post for you is a learning styles inventory. Again, this is coming from the world of education, and this is a great little inventory. There's a link in that resource for you to also go on and to take a little test to find out your own particular learning style. And again, I encourage you to do this if you are someone who teaches children in a Sunday school setting, because often we may not be aware that our own personal learning styles is the one that influences the ways that we teach kids. And so this can be really helpful. And then there's some different tips and ideas for working with the different learning styles that you might come across in your setting with kids. And then finally, I'm really excited to tell you about a resource that Ryan Martinson, pastor at Queensway Baptist Church, has shared with us. And this is a fantastic resource, and it's entitled, actually, The Kids You'll Meet. And what it is an exercise. This is a training resource. So this is really good if you are working with volunteer teams or something that you could bring back to your team of volunteers. But what it is it's an exercise that you can go through that creates some scenarios of different types of kids that you'll meet, likely in your ministry. Or the other way this might be helpful is in a VBS or a camp training setting. But it's a fantastic little resource, and the reason why it's so helpful and why I'd encourage you to check this out and make use of it is that even just reading about and knowing about the different kinds of kids that we'll meet in our ministries, even that is good, but so much better when in a setting, a group setting, we can start to kind of role, and this is a role-playing exercise, we can role play and think through, how is a child going to react in a situation, kind of play that out and have some discussion and debriefing, and then together as a group, think through the best ways that you could work with a child if that child comes into your ministry or that situation arises. So I encourage you to check out this resource as well. It's going to be posted in the comments also for you. Again, it's a free resource. Thank you so much, Pastor Ryan, for sharing that with us and making it available to our churches. Well, that's all the time that we do have today. I hope that you will continue to get to know the kids that you meet in your ministry and look for the best ways that you can minister to and serve them and lead them. Thank you for joining us this morning.